Saturday. My name is Eric. I'm making animated faces that you can talk to. I'm moving my lips and having words come out of them, and sometimes they're actually articulate words. Okay, today I'm going to do something a little bit off the beaten path for me. But first I'm going to demo. I should just demo. I'm going to keep my structure of my stream intact. I'll demo first, then I'll get to doing some actual work on my project. All right. Okay, here's what I did yesterday and a little bit the day before. There's this text logging area down here. I can add text to it. I can later on, I can add more styles to it, different colors and stuff. It's not just an ordinary text box. It is a collection of HTML elements. It can be styled different ways. So there's this button that lets me add in some more lines of text. And then this is kind of hard, actually. Not real hard, but medium hard. If I'm at the bottom, it auto scrolls when lines are added. I say that and all of a sudden it does something different. Whereas if I move it up and I add lines, it just keeps my current position. So it's fairly difficult to get it to work right. And then I just said that I had it working, and it looks like I don't. So I may fix that first. I actually woke up this morning with a potential fix for it. Okay, I added clearing of the transcript. Okay, so I'll try and fix that bug at the beginning of this session. After that, I want to work on this pane here, which should just be like a text file editor. You can just click in and edit text inside of it. I'll keep that real simple. But I should be able to do that. Now the third thing is I succumbed to the hype. I need to learn what is going on with this for myself. This ChatGPT generated coding. So I got CoPilot installed in my IDE. I'm signed up for Github CoPilot, and I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see if it does anything useful for me today. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I remain open-minded. And it's learning partially for myself, like, do I want to use this? But it's also learning for what am I going to be exposed to in the world as far as people coming to my company and applying and using GitHub Copilot, or competitors of my company. Will they have some significant advantage if my company doesn't use Copilot and theirs does? So I want to get a sense of it. Now, I did play around with it a little bit, and I gave it, to start with, kind of like a easy Code Wars style question, maybe a CS 101 style question. I'll try another one in that vein. Let's say reverse the order of characters in a string. And then, since that's just so generic, let me add just a little bit. Excluding strings that are, no, excluding characters that are numerical. It wants to add digits on the end to that description. I like that. That's a little more precise. If that helps it, great. Reverse non-digits. Let's see what it does. Hit tab to accept what it's suggesting. It is giving me TypeScript. Okay, and I'll just go with what it says for. I thought that was gonna just fill in with the whole thing. Okay, if I hit tab, do I not get Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So let me see what it's actually doing. Also, in my description, I don't know if it's perfectly clear. So if we say that there's a string and we don't want to reverse numerical digits, what does it actually do? So if I have like an input like A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, G, H, I, J, K, L. Yeah, I do like its little attempts at trying to pattern match. Then it would be something like L, K, J, I, G, H, no, H, G. And then I guess I'm saying that we don't reverse those and we continue reversing the rest. But it does leave some ambiguity. Here, let's put, just so it's a good test, let's do that's that. The question is, should 4, 5, 6 be over here? Yeah, like I don't think I gave it like a proper definition. But let's see what it actually tried to do. It started the index at the end of the string, and it said we're going to go backwards. It said if the character is numerical, then we'll say digits equals the character plus the digits. Interesting. I think like whatever it tells me, I'm not going to be too critical of it because the thing I asked for was ambiguous. Otherwise we say result equals plus equal characters plus equals digits. Don't know why you would add digits here. And then, oh, I see. It's a pretty good guess. It's something useful to do in the face of ambiguity, I gotta say. So it said if our character is a digit, we can just add it to this thing for digits. And then if we, after we add the character, oh, it's reversing the digits too. So it's saying digits equals the character we just got plus the digits. Okay, then it says if we have something that's not a digit, we're going to add the character, and then on top of that, we'll throw in whatever digits we happen to have at that point. So how would this work with my example? It would look at the 6 and it would say, oh, that is that's going to go into digits. So it'll put digits into 4, 5, 6. As soon as it gets to the space, it'll drop the space. Then it will put in the digits like this. Then it will start in with L, K, J, I, H, G, and then space, and then it's going to go another space and 3, 2, 1. And then another space, then F, E, D, C, B, A. It's not bad. Let me try it again with giving it something that's a little more clear what would be correct. I will give some credit to that solution. Like it's pretty good for a bullshit question. Like my question is more bullshit than its answer. Huh. So let's try something else. Shuffle a deck of cards. Now that is a question I've asked in interviews 3 times. Probably more. I'm just curious how it does with the ambiguity. I guess this is also kind of bullshit, but it's starting off all right. It's giving me shuffle with T. T could be like the data structure for a card. But then what are you going to do, huh? Temporary value T. Yeah. This is a good solution. All right. The generic was pretty nice, actually, because that let it stop from having to define what a card was. Okay. So it's saying for current index is going to set it to 52 or whatever the length of the input array is. The temporary value is going to be for swapping. Random index, that'll get set below. This could be a const underneath, like that's how I would write it. Okay, while we haven't gotten to the end, pick a random index. Okay. Current index not equals 1. Temporary value equals array current index, and you're just going to swap. You're going to swap in place between the current index at the end and the random index any place inside of the array. That's a good solution. I give it credit for that. Now, if I were writing it myself, I would probably do const random index here. I think I would probably not phrase my array this way, but I can't say that the way that I would phrase my array, my flow control is any better than theirs. It's just a little more natural to me. I would probably do a classic for loop and go left to right. Because right to left, unless there's a good reason to go right to left, I find it a little more confusing than going left to right. But this is decent code, and it did not get very specific instructions from me, yet came up with a correct answer. This is like an answer I would accept in an interview if I was interviewing another programmer in a live coding exercise. Unit tests for shuffle. That's not bad. Let me see. Can I do... No, okay. There's some command to see other options. Is it Control, Shift? No. Okay, so here's my tiny little problem with this. Most of the code I write is not these kinds of functions. It's kind of rare that I would actually have to write one of those functions. This is the type of function that I'm more likely to need to write. Okay, so if I just try and write this function with GitHub CoPilot. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be able to do it. So I'll say receiving. Okay, it receives. Oh, interesting. So it has the implementation underneath, and it's saying that it can give me a comment that matches what's beneath, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I was about ready to think of like the comment that might go with that, with a new version of this function, and it actually wrote something that helped clarify my thoughts. That's pretty good. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, I'm gonna let it try to fill in the description based on what it sees the code doing below. It renders the lines in a div. Not true. Not true. In a div, but only renders the line. Very nice. Very nice. This is done by keeping a list of the keys of the lines have been rendered, and only rendering lines that have a key greater than the last key in the list. Pretty good. Pretty good. Like, if I went to like a junior programmer and said, you know what, can you just make sure my functions have comments that say what they actually do? And they came up with this, I would say, not bad, not bad. I will point out to you that it's not rendering into a div, it's rendering it into it. Renders the lines in to JSX elements. And I'll also say that you forgot some of the logic. Rendering lines if clear in the last key in the list. That's also, that is maybe not the kind of documentation I'd ever write for a function, to be honest, because you're saying exactly how the function operates rather than what its contract is. So let me write this in a little more contractual way. So use a list of lines and a callback to render each line. It renders new lines to JS elements and removes, old lines. No, removes rendered lines that no longer exist. Yeah. I don't think it does any kind of scrolling at all. But okay. Boy, it is a little bit like what I imagine driving a Tesla would be like. It's like, sure, it will do like some kind of job of following the road and moving you along it, but you have to pay attention to it the whole time. And that work of paying attention to it is probably at least as much work as just friggin' driving in the first place. Okay, so what happens if we just throw this way down here? Just stop considering that thing there, and let's do another function. I think you're confused by the other text that is in this. Yeah. All right. So this is the kind of thing that, like, I just don't think GitHub CoPilot's going to be able to get a handle on and automate for me. It seems to be that, like, whenever I'm able to come up with a pretty well-defined almost computer science 101 level function for ChatGPT to try its hand at, it does great. It does real good. And then it makes like a kind of a fakey guess that sounds good. Then Squirmo. You clearly sound sarcastic. What I'm trying to do here is kind of figure out like the bounds of usefulness of GitHub CoPilot. It is interesting to me, but I'm very skeptical of its use, particularly for me, because I'm kind of like a old school coder who is just used to writing every little type of function himself. So it's a little bit tricky for me to look at it and say, I want to use this, but I am curious about it, and I want to be open-minded to see what it might be useful for. So I'll just start writing my code, and when it becomes potentially useful, I'll use it. But I suspect it's going to be a lot of work to get some of these things to be some of the code I normally need to write for it to just pop in with GitHub solutions or Copilot solutions, because they're not like computer science 101 type functions. Okay, so the first thing I was going to do was on the transcript, see if I could get it to more reliably stick to the bottom. Add junk lines, add junk lines, add junk lines. So right now there's a mode where if I'm already scrolled to the bottom and I click this add junk lines, it stays auto scrolling. But I find that if I click it again, it will not auto scroll. Like it sort of loses its knowledge that it's at the bottom. So I'm going to try to fix that bug next. Scroll to the bottom. So my thought is, if I put this scroll inside of a timer, then I think this is trusted flag may work. Just say, do this a little bit later. And then this is trusted flag might be good at seeing when the scroll came from a user interaction rather than code. Because right now, when I click on that button, it says it's a trusted event from the DOM. And that's not really how I want to use it. I want, when the scroll event fires, I want it to only treat that as trusted if the user has moved with the mouse wheel or the scroll bar on the right. And since clicking on a button initiates the scrolling, it seems like that's causing it to report that event as trusted. But since I'm going to do the set timeout, which is going to have a callback perform the scrolling, I think I might be able to get around that. So we'll see how it does. Now I should be at the bottom. Okay, add my junk lines, do it again. Yeah. Ah, if I click a little fast, it seems to still get confused. I cannot see the pattern, to be honest. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Click again. Waiting, waiting, waiting. And then randomly it just, boom. Huh. Let's try something a little bit different. I'm starting to think is trusted is not helpful at all. Get rid of this since it adds complexity that doesn't seem to give any benefit. And we'll do okay, that's exactly what I wanted to type. GitHub CoPilot, so good job for you. That actually helped me. Okay, and we say ignore, next scroll. Yeah, that is what I wanted to type. Jesus, gotta give it credit. That is exactly what I wanted to type. I don't know how it knew that. Okay, so then we say on scroll if event is trusted, if not event is trusted, or ignore. Yeah. Return. Then I need something to turn it back off. Why don't I do, let's do a set. Jesus, that is what I wanted to type. Not the 100 milliseconds though. My first guess would have been like, let's try 0 milliseconds. But some part of me says the 100 might be right. Okay. Okay, I've still got the bug. It's really strange. Let's do what GitHub said instead of what I said. Clear. I can't believe it. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. GitHub CoPilot actually did fix this for me. So first I said, okay, yesterday I just had this value being set to false immediately after the scroll top got set, okay? And that didn't work. There was something about like when you set this scroll top, it will fire the scroll event, which causes this to be called, but not immediately. So it wasn't good enough for me to turn this flag off right away. And then I thought in my sort of cautious way, I don't want to have a set timeout that happens far in the future. So I'll try 0 milliseconds. Maybe that will be enough to ensure that this flag gets set to false in time for this logic to prevent okay, whatever. That wasn't good enough. The suggestion that GitHub CoPilot made was the correct answer. I tried to do better than GitHub CoPilot in this case and actually failed. And it also popped in with the code I was intending to write already for me. Like, it was like seeing the lines of code that I wanted to write appear in front of me. So 15 minutes into using this and it's already helping me. I just have to admit that right away. Okay, this helped me fix a bug. Gotta give it up. Let's see, how do I want to clean this up? If you have more than one, God damn if it's not right. When it's right, it's right. Jesus. This will probably break. In that case, consider moving it to a ref. What? Let's see what it said. That's also true. In that case, consider moving. Yeah, that's a pretty good suggestion. God damn it. It's smart. Or I should say the tens of thousands of users that gathered information from were pretty smart. Moving to I was going to say a React ref inside the component. Okay. Jesus, this thing is impressing me, and I did not think I was going to be impressed. I can literally say it saved me time, other than me kind of like fiddling around earlier with it in a playful way. But yeah, I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to try to avoid going off on too many tangents to test CoPilot, you know, to see like how well it adds to my work. So far, it's done pretty great. Okay. Key thing though is you would have to understand all the lines it generates. Like if there's somebody who's just a copy and paste coder, like this could be the worst kind of habit for them. All right, so I get to move on, but let's do a git commit. Fix bug with auto scroll going to manual. Unwantedly. Okay, let's keep going. The spiel over here. So this should be a text box. It's looking at other code inside of my project and reusing the same patterns that I use. That is beautiful. That's beautiful. That's what I want. This is great. Anything else you want? No, that's okay. You don't know enough about my intent to guess beyond that, but disabled is a pattern in the project that I've used, and it would be applicable here. So nicely done. Let's see. Text string. Yes, it is a string. Very good. Okay. Okay, let's say close. Okay, input style, or not style, class name. Good guess. say text. What do I want to call it? This is the part where the auto completion kind of messes me up a little bit. So you hush for a moment. I'm ignoring you. I'm like intentionally making my brain not look at what it's saying. Okay, what do I want to call this thing? I'm going to call it spiel text. Value equal, and then I'm going to put in text, even though that's not even correctly compiled. Disabled does make sense, what you said. Thank you. Okay. And we will come up here and destructure. Yes. Very good. Jesus. Okay, on change. Let's see. Do I really want to be called on change? Are you going to try to guess? On change text. Okay. That's right. That's what I would type. That is what I would have typed. On change equals change text. Let's do event. Okay, now this would be nice if you autofill in here for the event. Target. No, you're not going to autofill. That's fine. Value. Okay. I think you're confused because I haven't destructured yet. Are you going to... yeah, on change text. Oops. Disabled. The one thing that is slowing me down a little bit is just getting used to the key presses. And let's fix that. Okay. That's pretty good. I think that did slightly speed things up, or maybe it was a bit of a wash with like the different key pressing and everything. All right, what am I doing next? So I need to hook up to the spiel screen. My spiel pane, I need to pass some kind of text. Text equals, let's just for the moment say blah, blah. And on change text. Text. And then what was that one? Disabled equals disabled. Let's see. I think let's just add a use state for now. That'll make it a little bit nicer. So we'll go. Yeah. Good God, it's very good at predicting. I am impressed. Very impressed. Like, it's not doing just predictions that are based on what everybody in the world typed. It's doing a lot of good predictions based on like what's in my project. So let's call this next spiel text. See if it figures out if I should be doing set. Well, that's, yeah, all right. Next, build text, okay. All right, so now I've got this thing here. Okay, so I want this to be multi-line. Yikes, don't do that. Oh, okay. I'm editing the wrong thing. Okay, so it's down here. Okay, so we'll say home. What? Can I not? Okay. All right. Let's see. Spiel pane module, and then what? Spiel text. Okay, and then come back to Spiel screen. Oh no, not there. Transcript pane, okay. Styles. No, not that one. Where is it? Spiel pane, okay. Text, spiel text, okay. Okay, so that's better. Inspect. Okay. I don't know why it's centered like that, but I think I can get it back to normal. What is it using for styling? What's display text align? Okay, we'll do text align. Okay, so that's only going to do horizontal. What's the difference between left and start? I'm going to do left. Okay, vertical align, top. What else is just making it centered like that? Yeah, I don't get it. All right, let me try some typing. Okay, this doesn't seem like the right thing for multi-line. Let me, let's come back to here. Just say multi-line text input, and then what do you put? Text area. Okay. Yeah, that was quite smart. It actually gave me a different version of the same line. That was nice. Okay. Okay, now let's go into CSS and see if I can figure out some stuff. No auto correct. No auto capitalize. Okay, if I come down here, that's not really what I care about, but what else? What else? What else are you going to give me? Let me see what happens if I do this in like correct formatting, and then let's go like that. Nope, it's not going to tell me. Okay. That's okay. Okay, so I have to be truthful with myself. It just wasted a little bit of my time there trying to help me. Okay, CSS, remove auto correct syntax, highlighting. I don't know what you call it. Remove red squiggle. Spell check equals false. Okay. Come back to here, and let's say spell check equals false. Okay, there's enough attributes here that I don't mind multi-lining it for better readability. Okay. Okay, I got rid of my red squiggles. Okay, let's see how it goes when I get into overflow territory. We've already got like some handling of the scroll bar built in. That's fine. That is fine. Okay. So next I need to get this tied into my revision management framework, which means we'll get undo and redo working. And also auto saving. Also there's the document name stuff, but I think I can come back to that just a little bit later. Okay. No, don't. You don't know. You don't know. revision. Spiel text. That's basically it. Let's go look at a different file. Revision manager from docs. Actually, that is correct. Okay. Okay, then we need an on-persist, which won't do anything initially, but I'll fill it in later. Good guess. Good guess. I don't need that though. I know where you're getting that from, CoPilot. You're saying, well, there's a function over in this other module that has publish face events for revision, but spiel events is different. There aren't spiel events. Okay. Let's look at my pattern I used over here on the exports. Update for face-related revision. Okay, some kind of init here. Clean up my imports a little bit. Balthazar. This is Rider. JetBrains Rider. It's a pretty good IDE. I like it. And I've got the Github CoPilot extension or plugin configured on it too. Which I'm using today for the first time, and it's immediately doing nice things for me. Despite myself being grumpy about using it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Export function. Update. Revision. Or spiel text. Yep. Yep. That's some good autocomplete. That's pretty good. Okay, and then there's export function on undo. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Export function on redo. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm gonna have to think about that before I just go with it. That's the problem with this CoPilot is like it can suggest a lot of things quickly that might actually be all you need, or it could be a mistake. So this I have to write, and this I have to write. let's do the perform disabling operation. Copy this. Yep, good call. No. Let's see, let's make this be set disabled. Let's say set disabled equals, yeah, that one. Okay. Set disabled true, let result any equals undefined. Result equals await task function, finally set disabled false, return result. Okay, yeah, this is a good copy. Then let's go to general interactions where it initializes this. Let me see, init core needs to have set disabled passed to it. So let's set disabled, any come in here. Oops, can I add that here as well? Set disabled, any, okay. Then here I need to do something with that. So let's see, bind, set disabled, and I will need that to come from my core util for spiel. Function bind, yeah. That's good autocomplete right there. That was good. Okay, come back to I got too many tabs with redundant names. Okay, core util, where's general interactions? This is for spiel. No, this is for faces. You're saying something is in error though. What's the thing that's in error? No, this is for spiel. Okay, what's there? Oh yeah, for this, let's see how you do with the import. Okay, well that's just writer. That's not Github CoPilot. Okay, so we bind set disabled when we come in. Okay, it returns the face name. That's fine. That's all fine. So back here, we should be able to get now perform disabling operation, and we were going to have the task function do what? I can do this, but I need something. Oh, set revision. That's what I'm going to need. Set revision. That's a better pattern than what I've been doing. Let me do, yeah, function. Instead of any, that's a little bit better. Okay. So set revision function. And we will say it's going to be async. This is going to be await, and this is going to be Yeah, yeah, very good. And then, yep, very good. Okay. Now, why do you think? Okay. Okay. That's pretty good. All right. So we just bring this down here. And we say this is going to be next instead of this will be set revision. Yeah. So this is a nice case where it didn't mimic me entirely. It actually suggested an improvement to my code. I used to put any there. That's very unspecific. That's as unspecific as you can get with TypeScript. But I didn't feel like looking up like the exact set revision definition from the React-based use state. It just seemed like such a pain. So this is a good compromise between the two things, and I think I'll continue using these function variables instead of any. So it's a case of me learning from CoPilot or the thousands of programmers that it's drawn its opinions from. All right, so that's undo, redo, update revision for spiel text. That would be the next thing to hook in. I do feel myself getting a little bit distracted by CoPilot, and I'm kind of hoping after a bit that'll die down and I'll just be more comfortable with it, and my own thoughts will move along in the normal way they do. But there's a fear I have. It's kind of like why I don't use cruise control when I drive. It ends up being like more work to pay attention to whether the cruise control is doing the correct thing or not, as opposed to just friggin' driving, which is the most natural thing in the world. Well, not in the whole world, but a weirdly natural thing. So I wonder if I'll be a stronger developer after I've got the habits all set to depend on it, or if I'll be hobbling my mental processes in some way. Time will tell. Okay, so we got revision util, we got gotta go back up to spiel screen and get it hooked up in such a way that undo and redo works. Okay, so now you're expecting to also get the set disabled. We need also revision and set revision. And this guy can come from yep. This guy I need to write. So let's go revision util, export function, get revision for mount. Yep, that is the right autocomplete. It's following my pattern from elsewhere. That's correct. Okay. I think this also needs a set revision. Yep, function. Okay, let me say set yes, just like that. It is predicting what I'm going to type next, which is quite nice. Okay. Go back to Spiel screen. You may now be imported. What do you need? I see. I see. Okay. So we can do or null here. This is a weird, creepy feeling I'm having. It's like pair programming with the CoPilot. And it also has that feeling I get with traditional pair programming, which is I can't quite say that the other person who might be giving me stuff as I'm typing is being unhelpful because they're giving good suggestions, but it's also distracting me a little bit. And it makes me think, like, maybe they should just be a little more quiet and just come up with things that they have very high confidence in, or they've noticed I haven't seen an answer to. But CoPilot is incessant. Like, it wants to autocomplete everything you type, and it gives pretty good suggestions, but it's like, I almost wish it would just be a little bit slower to give me the suggestions. So let me see if there's any settings related to it. Installed CoPilot. Yeah, but what about, just tell me what settings I've got. Maybe, no, that's fine. Don't want to disable it. I just wanted to see if I could tweak it a little bit. Advanced settings. Github CoPilot settings. I guess I could look at my settings on the server, but I don't want to do that on stream. Okay. So get back to work. Get back to work. Don't get distracted with toys. The whole point of this session is not really to be all immersed in CoPilot. It's just to do some actual work. So I've got this guy. I am noticing that as I type, the head layout, it comes down. That's a bug. I'll have to figure that out. But I'm in the middle of doing something else, so I'll come back to that. So we say about the text, when we say on change text, let's do revision spiel text. And you're going to say, oh, it could be null. Okay. Revision spiel text or null. Or that, like that. There we go. And here, we want to call this new function I wrote update revision for spiel text. I'm going to pass in next spiel text and set revision. And we're going to get rid of this guy, no longer used, because now it'll just be inside of the revisions, and the undo and redo will be supported eventually after I get hooked up properly. I do need to initialize the first revision before I can use it. So let's go to that. Okay. So set this. Yeah, my new trick from Github CoPilot is to declare these as functions instead of any. It's a little bit nicer. Set disabled, set revision. Okay, and then we'll do equals spiel text. Okay. Okay, get revision manager, this guy, and then just add revision. Yep. You're saying delete, huh? To do delete? No, that's not what I want to do. So okay. So that might do something useful. Gotta fix that problem though. Set disabled, set revision. All right. It's so strange. It like starts changing the layout of the head. Okay. So I think it's creating a ton of revisions. Undo and redo don't seem to be working as I'd like. I gotta think about this a little bit. Because there's basically two undos here, and they're gonna stomp over each other. There's the undo that's built into the browser. Like if you do Command Z, it's gonna undo the typing inside of any text input field. Whereas these guys up here, they're not working. I can fix them. Well, they do exactly the same thing, but it's going to get confusing because you do undo, undo, undo with this, and it's advancing the revisions within the undo and redo here. It becomes some weird kind of puzzle like in the video game Braid, where some things are moving in one direction on a timeline and others have a different timeline. So I've got this two timeline problem here to solve. So ways to handle it. I able to, inside of JavaScript, detect undo command? Browser undo command. Could disable it, maybe. Is that allowed? Quingy, is GUI undo necessary given that you have the keyboard shortcut? That's on my mind too. That's a good thought. The only problem is consistency. So if I come over here to faces, I've got undo and redo, and they are quite applicable to all these actions inside the UI. And I've got another screen over here, speech, that has a similar sort of thing. So I come over here and the undo and redo go away, then it does leave the user kind of feeling like, where's the undo and redo? At least that's my theory. I think what I could do is go ahead and keep undo and redo, but use them not for character level undo, but more like every once in a while some kind of autosave type thing. Like if, yeah, I don't know. I say it out loud and then it makes me think it's not quite right. I could write like a little comment down underneath. Use the undo and redo that's built into your browser, Command Z, whatever it is. I think that's kind of ugly and gross. I wonder if I can make the undo and redo be directly tied to the browser's undo and redo. So I know how to disable the undo and redo of the browser with this. What about JS programmatically undo? I always have bad search queries that, okay, yeah. Okay, this might be better. CK editor? What the heck is CK editor? I don't care about CK editor. This is a nice question. This a really nice answer this person gave, but it doesn't apply to me. All right, so this is enough of a conundrum that I need to kind of write it out and consider different options. Open up my Scratch file. Fire an event at a currently focused element. Possibly. Let's see. What are my requirements for my solution? My requirements are user is not confused by undo, redo. User can undo, redo text in the spills screen. That's about it. Let's go with that. Number one. I do wish there was like a way to just quickly disable CoPilot so it doesn't pop in when I don't feel like it has any hope of contributing useful information. Number one though, just just use undo, redo of browser and hide. Yeah, actually that's good autocomplete. That's good autocomplete. Number 2. I'll say what Queen G said. Fire an event on focused element to recreate, undo, undo event as if issued by user. Does it work? I don't know. Number 3. Have both browser, undo, redo, and button, undo, redo. Buttons are a coarser revision. Queen G, thank you. I'm going to take a look at that in a second. Okay, any other options I haven't thought about? Okay, the plus of this is done very quickly. Easy, easy, easy. The plus of this is consistent UI and consistent UI across screens. And some extra usefulness of a course revision. The minus is going to be confusion around a browser undo generating revisions. Consistent UI. My wife just texted me. What'd she say? What'd she say? Okay, I'm gonna step away for hey Goose. Goose, I'm gonna step away for just a few minutes to kiss my wife goodbye. I'm gonna come back. I will be back in just a couple minutes, I think. All right.
She's one of those first place, but do we understand?
Hey, just look away.
What a bruise.
Pushing on its own doesn't matter.
She violent. I've pushed people by accident.
I'd rather we not focus on her
That's a
actions.
bad look. He's upset, but he's always upset.
She's probably fine, but don't draw attention to
I
yourself.
don't care if she's a pusher.
What?
It'll go back to normal. Just wait a
They
bit.
want to ruin it for everyone else.
Send the other one and see what they say.
Okay, you're saying
Hey,
she's too
nobody
pushy.
died. You should be more
Can we
afraid
get a
of
beard in here? Why is it that hard? She just wanted people to clear a path.
She pushed someone
She's one of those
in the first place, but do we understand?
Hey, just look away.
What a bruise.
Pushing on its own doesn't matter.
She violent. I've pushed people by accident.
I'd rather we not focus on her
That's a
actions.
bad look. He's upset, but he's always upset.
She's probably fine, but don't draw attention to
I
yourself.
don't care if she's a pusher.
What?
It'll go back to normal. Just wait a
They
bit.
want to ruin it for everyone else.
Send the other one and see what they say.
Okay, you're saying
Hey,
she's too
nobody
pushy.
died. You should be more
Can we
afraid
get a
of
beard in here? Why is it that hard? She just wanted people to clear a path.
She pushed someone
She's one of those
in the first place, but do we understand?
Hey, just look away.
What a bruise.
Pushing on its own doesn't matter.
She violent. I've pushed people by accident.
I'd rather we not focus on her
That's a
actions.
bad look. He's upset, but he's always upset.
She's probably fine, but don't draw attention to
I
yourself.
don't care if she's a pusher.
Boy.
It'll go back to normal. Just wait a bit.
They want to ruin it for everyone else.
Send the other one and see what they say.
Okay, you're saying
Hey,
she's too
nobody
pushy.
died. You should be more
Can we
afraid.
get a beard in here? Why is it that hard?
All right. All right, so thinking about number 2 solution. I mean, I think it may work. Huh. Okay, here's the thing that changes it a little bit. Support later moving to HTML elements inside of the text box. Yeah, basically what CoPilot said. Goose, I am struggling with how well CoPilot is completing my own thoughts for me. It would seemingly go entirely against my nature, and it does kind of to rely on the code generation tool, but it's pretty damn good. It's kind of amazing me. First day using it, and it fixed a bug. It gave me programming tips in a way, like it was more specific about variable declaration in a helpful way, kind of like an advanced linter. And about 10 times already I've gone to type something and it just predicts what I probably would have typed already, and I just hit tab and it's done. And it even looks at my own project to figure out like the best way to complete the code and to follow conventions that I've used. It's not just grabbing snippets out from the rest of the world and dropping them in. So kind of amazing. I'm impressed with it. Okay, so if I think of this last requirement, it changes what I want to do a little bit. Yeah, tell me about your app. Give me an update. So you're using the AI image generation to get your artwork for your animals completely free. Boy, you know who's going to be hit by that? That AI generation is going to be, yeah, show me. First you think artists, and I kind of go along with that, but I think like stock art services, like what I've got, they're going to get hit by this. They've got to be like scurrying right now. Like if I go to a place that I use all the time, like Dreams Time, I've got like a really nice license on Dreams Time. And I think, okay, I can go to illustrations and I can say turtle, and I'll get a pretty nice turtle. But if I say turtle opening refrigerator, it's not going to give me a turtle opening a refrigerator. It's just not going to. It's not smart enough to do that. And the software that is smart enough to do that can just go mine all the images off these stock photography sites as input into it. And it's like they must be just in fear, like these stock photography and illustration companies. All right. Okay, you send it to me in Discord, And I'm assuming I can look at it on the public stream here. Yell at me if anything's really meant to be private. Jesus, man. This is... These all look good. They don't look like nonsense at all. It's just... This changes everything, my God. They're great, man. Like, if I commissioned somebody to make artwork of animals, and they gave me this, I would feel like I couldn't do better. They look perfect. They're all in the same style. Like, they go together. They're cute. They've got some personality to them. Easily recognizable. Well, maybe this guy might be hard. I'm not sure. Is he a lizard? Is he an alligator? Is he a dinosaur? A snake? But yeah, very cool. That's your old one. Okay. Yeah, it bugs me a little bit, man, because I'm a fan of human creativity. Yeah, and I don't blame anybody, honestly, for taking advantage of that. I don't see like a good defense against AIs just kind of snapping up all the imagery out there and regenerating. Because we could pass legislation in one country against it and try to crack down on it. There'll just be a competitor in a different country that's not bound by the same rules. And all they gotta do is put a website up and people will come to it. So, you gotta think of something besides trying to thwart the generative technology. If you're going to solve this problem of how to reward people for creating new things, because I don't know, it just grabs from the best work that's already been done before and it makes something new. It's just amazing that way. There's some more here too. These all look great. They all look great. Jesus. Yeah, it honestly makes me a little bit sad. Like, I'm excited and I'm sad at the same time. I'm an artist. I work with artists, work with many artists, commissioned work many times. I still see that there's going to be here and there some places where you just know what you're looking at is done by a real human, and it holds together in a really cohesive way. Or it's so new in style that there hasn't been enough content that's been put out by other artists to generate something in the same style. So I don't think artists disappear, but like the hack artists, or that's mean. I'll say the artists that aren't doing anything new. The artists that are just doing competent work and producing things that fit patterns. I don't see a place for them with this kind of tech. Yeah, exactly, Quingy. The Fiverr artists, the ones that say, hey, I'll throw you a quick piece of work together and they don't accept complex specifications, they're not going to refine it greatly to match like the needs of a client. They're just going to do something quick and cheap. Those people, they're out. They're out. I just don't see any world for them. Yeah, as far as programming goes, I don't believe it's the same situation. As much as I'm impressed with like the code generation tools I'm looking at, I think it's not as simple as saying, okay, now like all the entry-level programmers can just be replaced. I think it's more like the job changes a bit, because like the hard part of writing code is not like come up with a function that does one clearly defined thing. The hard part is come up with the design that's maintainable, come up with all the logical components that produce the overall app or set of features you want. That's the tough stuff. And it's not like these computer science 101 interview questions, Code Wars style questions that are what you want someone to excel at. You want them to excel at software design, and that just is going to be hard for an AI to just get a handle on that very quickly. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing today, is just kind of exploring, would this help my productivity? The answer seems to be a shaky yes. It does end up distracting me a little bit, and maybe that would go away with the newness, because I have to keep on like looking at its suggestions instead of doing the work to generate like my own code. So it takes me out of the flow a bit, I have to be honest. But I saw just in my first session today using it that it corrected a bug. It improved suggestions for some of the things I was going to type, and then it many times predicted exactly the thing I was going to type, and I just hit tab and it was done. So yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've never gotten a handle on regex. Like, I always forget what the rules are to it because I don't use it quite enough. And I go on to like one of those online regex testers and fuck around for a half hour on something that should be pretty simple, because I just always forget what all the little arcane rules are for character matching. I've gotten to the point where like I'll stop myself from using regex just because it's hard for me to maintain. It's hard for me to see at a glance what it's doing. But yeah, all right, so back to this design problem. So this last thing means that I'm going to favor number 3, because it won't just be a text box later on. It'll be a set of constructed HTML elements that look like a text editor in some way. So for that, the built-in browser undo redo is not going to help me that much. Get a few more. They all look beautiful, and they look consistent. They look like of the same style, which is great. So yeah, I think you did some good art skimming here. All right, so that means I'm gonna go with number 3. And it may be a little confusing. That's the honest truth of it, to have 2 different undos available. But I also feel like the user is going to settle on one or the other. Like if they want to do Command Z, they'll probably be messing with that more than anything. So thinking about that, I want my overall undo to be something like a debounced set of undos. So if I go to go back to Spiel screen. Okay, so I've got my Spiel pane, I've got on change text, and let's have this just call something. Well, it is calling something. I can have my debouncing logic inside of here as well. Okay. Update revision for Spiel text, fine. Okay, so let's go back to, what is it, revision util. Before I add that debouncing though, I want to see why I'm not getting my revisions working when I do undo and redo. Oh, I know why. Because I didn't hook up the click handlers. Undo is doing nothing yet. But if I just say on undo, hold on, what was it? Yeah, on undo, set revision, okay. So we're gonna go on undo, set revision, and then redo. Okay, and let's get these from the right place. There we go. All right. So now, if I do a little bit of typing, hey, and I do undo, yeah. Okay, so here's the weird thing that will be a little bit confusing to some people. So say I write garbage, and I do Command Z, 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 Z. Okay, so the browser I've done undos. To the app I've been making changes that are going not as undos, but are just being added as revisions. So if I click on undo, I believe it's gonna put back in garbage. Yep. So that's the confusion. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's not that bad. I think a user will be able to figure it out. Now let's do the debouncing, which will give me some coarser updates. Okay, so for that, let's do let update Spiel text timeout. Let's see, equals, yeah, let's do null for now. Okay. And then, so we come down here and we say, nice, that is the first thing I need to do. If we already have an update Spiel text timeout, we need to see if it guesses it. You're right, you are right. You have to clear it, okay? Okay, now what are you squiggling about? Yeah, that's true, that's true. I was just waiting to figure out the, okay. Yeah, it's doing such a nice job of predicting what I'm gonna type next. I got to say I'm impressed by that. So set timeout, there's my callback. And then debounce Spiel Yeah? Jesus. It's very eerie to be thinking something and then it like pops in the thing you're thinking. It's extremely strange. I'll say that right now. I'm like fearful and excited at the same time. Okay, what is the actual thing? A Node.js timeout? I'll try that. Okay, we'll say Node.js timeout or null. And we'll set it to null to initially. Okay, so the way that the debouncer works is first it says if we already had a change that was pending, clear the timeout so that the callback just beneath will not happen. Then we say, let's go ahead and set a timer, and we'll just wait a second, 1 second, without any changes, like idle time, before we add them to the revision manager. And you know, that's what debouncing does. So like if you're typing a whole bunch of stuff, it's not going to update. It's not going to update right away. It's not going to add a revision right away. It's going to wait a whole second after you stop typing, and then it will do something. Okay, so this should give us coarser updates. So here, I'll type a whole sentence and then I'll click undo. I say that, and maybe there's some problem. There is a problem. There is a problem. The problem is that it's got that delay, not for the revision, but for also updating this text box. So if I type some text right now, I'll just do a man in a canal, and I kind of wait, and then it just drops in. Okay, that's not correct code. Okay, so let me see how to handle that. What I could do is decouple set revision from the set spiel text. So I'll have one thing that immediately updates the spiel text. Then I'll have the revision be a separate call. Okay. So we'll say, go ahead and set the spiel text immediately. Okay, now come back to spiel screen. Add back in a separate value for spiel text. This is just going to be string, and yep, we'll start out with that. Okay. And then when I do update revision for spiel text, I need to pass set spiel text along with set revision, and this guy needs to come not from the revision anymore. It needs to come from spiel text. Okay. Cool. All right, so then we come back to here, and it looks like maybe it's a good time to just do a reload on the app, just make sure I'm not fiddling around with some extra state I don't want. Okay, spiel. Hello, my friend. Hello. Okay, so if I click undo, what I'm hoping happens is it will just erase this whole sentence here. Nope, not so lucky. Okay, let me keep fiddling. Fiddle. Fiddle. Undo. Are you gonna do anything? I don't know. I don't know why it's not. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So let's come into the revision util, take another look at that. Okay. In here, I would have thought that would add in the changes just fine. Set revision. Version manager, current revision. Undo. Yeah. So that seems okay. Let me set breakpoints and see what's actually happening. Go to sources. I gotta get a little more space here on my source. Okay, it won't be there. Okay, revision util. That's the one I want to look at. Okay, so let me see when it gets to here. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that was a nice debounce delay there. I'm curious what revision manager has in it for its number of revisions. Okay, it's got 3. Yeah, I mean, this is the data structure as I expected. So if you remember when I started, I typed in all at one time, hello, my friend, hello. And then I paused, and it did wait a little bit, and then it added it as a revision. Then I typed in the next thing, and it added that. So the data structure looks entirely correct. But when I click on undo, it's maybe not doing what I expect it to. So let's see what happens. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I'm no longer using the revisions to update this guy here. So what I could do is have this pass in set spiel text as well. That'll solve it. Okay. It's a little inelegant, I gotta say, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, set spiel text, and it'll be, yep, good autocomplete, very good, very good. Okay, but what? Oh, you think maybe it'll be null, right? Yeah, okay. If revision. Or could do, this is actually easier and more robust. Say bam, 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 like that. Okay, same thing here. All right. So then, what? Oh yeah, I gotta pass in one more function. So red squigglies, here you go. Set revision, and then set spiel text. Set spiel text. Okay. All right, so then if I say undo, okay, it went all the way to the beginning. Might be in a weird state. Let me see how I do with fresh reload. Spiels. Blah, 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 blah. What else? Okay. Yeah. And then redo. Bam. That's good. That's good. That's what I want. And then if the user also wants to do the Command Z stuff, they can do that. It does seem like they might have some troubles with it using both at the same time, but it's there. Type something else, and then do Command Z. You can, you know, do a quick undo of what you just typed, or you can go back further. Bam, 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 bam. All right. I think that's mostly solved that. Next thing, persisting this text to browser persistent storage. So I've got a thing built into my revision manager that it will automatically save right here. I need to build out a few functions for setting document, for storing this stuff to persistent storage. Okay, so let's go into my persistence classes, modules. I've got one for projects. Okay, project has an active face. Let's give it also an active spiel. I got set active face name, get active face name. We'll just kind of copy the pattern for spiels. It's just a different type of document. Get active spiel name, set active spiel name. What kind of dev work do I do on a daily basis? None at all. I am a manager of managers. But when I get off of my day job, I like to get back to my roots and write some code, work on my own personal projects. But yeah, my last day job coding thing was 3 promotions ago. I don't say that in a braggy way. It's not like you know, I'm like so high above the noble job of coding. Not at all. Quingy, how about you though? What kind of coding do you do? Let's see. Active spiel. Nice. What's your stack that you like to use or typically use? Like, do you like, for example, React or Angular or Next.js, TypeScript? Okay, so that should fix that up. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, so clearly I like React and TypeScript as well. Serverless I haven't done much with. I should, no, correct that. I haven't done anything with it other than just like read a few articles about it. Does seem like an interesting approach. I do like not having to configure servers. The scaling of it seems good. Yeah, I just haven't done anything with it though. Okay, set active spiel name, and then I'll need to create a new module. Yeah, so I like the idea of not managing a server for a web app, so that appeals to me. Although I did go a different route with mine. I just said I'll do it offline first, I'll make the app just run from local storage. So it's got advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is, okay, no server management, very fast without round-trip REST calls or GraphQL calls. Very private, and this is important for my app because it's got speech recognition in it, and I don't want the user's words going off to a server. Disadvantages. The same user, if they go to a different computer or device of theirs, they won't have the same data there. I've got some ways they can work around it with exports and imports. Publishing their stuff so other users can see it. It won't work without some kind of server to upload to. But I really, really love offline first. It makes web apps so friggin' fast, and it's kind of a joy to develop that way for me. I can see in the future a lot more kind of hybrid offline first, but also connecting to a server for some things. But it's just lightning fast. It's like these computers have gotten faster and faster, and we haven't noticed it because of the way that web apps and other kinds of apps are built. They just kind of use up all the speed and the limiting factor. It stopped being CPU a long time ago. It's more like server round trips. Yeah. Okay, so in spiels, I want to follow the pattern of faces. Oh yeah, so financial sector, that's interesting too. Or just like any kind of web app where you say, well, our data is our data and we don't want it just to be resting on the user's computer. Well, I think there are some cases where you really want to be careful about that, but there's also a fallacy that a lot of people buy into, that their data is like in some kind of fortress on the server and therefore it's safe, when they will transport that same data to the user's local computer whenever they open a web page. So if you've got someone looking at their stock portfolio inside of a web browser, that data has transferred over to the web browser, so it's there. There are some additional attack vectors if you store the data in persistent storage on the user's computer, and those should be considered. But I think with encryption at rest, you basically have equivalent security over that data, whether it be on a server or be on the user's computer. But it's going to take a lot to convince people that the data that's on the server is as safe as the data that's on the local computer, which, in other words, not safe at all. Let's see. All right, spiels. Pattern off of faces. What did I do for faces? I said get face definition, set face definition, rename. I'm gonna need like almost all of these. Yeah, almost all of these. Okay, so come over spiels. Let's just start going through them. Okay, so this will be spiel path. Okay. One type. Okay, create a new one. Wisp spiel. Okay, this is going to be get spiel, not a definition. Spiel name. Okay. await get text key. If not, we'll say unexpected. And just return that. Okay, so that's fine. What I meant is that any interaction can't rely on just the client state and has to be valid against the server. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, yeah. So like if somebody was modifying their position or they're buying some stock or something like that, then yeah, there has to be some source of truth and business rules around it outside of that user's local computer. That's just yeah, there'll be all kinds of examples of that. You're totally right. Okay, spiel YAML. This is very boilerplatey, but it's shallow boilerplate. I don't mind it. Don't know if I need this function yet, and I don't want to just have functions sitting there that I'm not sure I'm going to need. So I'll wait till I actually need it. Delete spiel. This one, these four here, I'm certain I'll need. Pretty damn certain. Okay. That. I've got to define these guys. Okay, let's do the MIME types. Keep them alphabetized. Okay, this will be the Spiel. Der Spiel. Okay. Then let's go to the paths. TRPC, the concept of type-safe client-server communication, is intriguing. Interesting. I do not know about TRPC. I may look at it in a moment. I may certainly look at it in a moment. Spiels. Okay, this is going to be Spiels. Spiel name. Then let's see, TRPC. Try that to start. Move fast and break nothing. That's a great slogan. Backed and TypeSF APIs made easy. So it looks like, okay, so it does the import here from the client. Oh, this is server-side code, okay. Okay, so you work over here, you work on your server TS, and then it informs the types that are found on the client in some way. And it would stop you from querying against an endpoint in an incorrect way. And it would let you correct that error inside of your IDE rather than wait for a runtime rejection of the request. Oh, yeah, I think you're basically saying some version of what I said. Find the request input response shape is in time, then both the client and server relies on that definition. Yeah. You know, I've heard of some development shops too that just said, let's have client and server all in Node.js. Let's just stop having like Java and Scala and Golang and Python on the back end, and let's just all code in the same language. I think that'd be half of getting efficient development. It's just, can we just all be on the same language? But this other thing about having a type that's shared between the client and server code seems valuable too. Let me look at some of these other features. So this is, okay, it's JavaScript. So if you wanted to do this in like Python on the server or something like that, maybe it wouldn't be the right solution. Although, you know, it's like transpilers and stuff. Seems valuable. Seems good for some situations. Close some tabs, close some tabs, close some tabs. Okay, so I've got this in. What was I doing? Oh, I was getting my persistence fixed. Let's come back over to here. Where's the red squigglies? Where are they? Oh yeah. Actor spiel. And come back to that one's fine. Let's remove that, I guess. This, I don't need it yet. Just wait to add code until you actually need it. That is a good thing to do. Okay, then if I go to where else might I need code changes? Here. So I need the document name before I can save anything. Curious what pattern I used for that on the other screen. Take a look at that. Did I put it inside the revision? No, I used the get active function there. Okay. Okay, this is pretty easy. But I'll have to do a few more things. Okay, back to spiel. No, revision util. Get rid this one. Let's go to this one. And boom. Okay, the document is just going to be the spiel text. It's already ready to go there. Active, yeah, that one. Good, autocomplete from CoPilot there. And yes, yeah, yes. Very nice, very nice. That was perfect. Now just get the imports. Okay, get the imports. Beautiful. Okay. Let's make that a little more concisely formatted. Okay, so this is going to start persisting, but it doesn't have a name specified. In order for it to have a name specified, I need something that prompts the user to give it a name. So for that, I'll be following the same pattern as new face dialog. Let's create a file dialogues. Oh, I already got that. Okay. So we'll say add new spiel dialog. Okay. And I will just copy from the other one that's going to be very similar. And it'll give me some terrible imports up above that I'll have to change around. Okay, persistence, I don't need face names. I do need the text input dialog. Normalized name map. Yes, I do need that. Create normalized name map. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Default, yeah. So far so good. Okay, so here's where I need to get the spiel names. And that is one of the ones I didn't implement. But I can implement it, no problem. Okay, default value set default. Okay, that's all fine. Could describe a plot event in the story. You can change it later. Okay. Fixed path store name. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all good. So I mainly need to define this. Then this will be done. Okay. so come back to faces. Let's do the get face names. And bring it over here and we'll say get spiel names. And this is Spiel's path. Okay, so there's my get spiel names. I come back to the new spiel dialog, and then this guy can now give me something. Okay, then I've got this dialog defined. I can come back to my screen and add it down underneath. So here's the way I do it. With the modal dialogues, the modal dialog just pops up in front of everything. I declare all the potential modal dialogues in the rendering output. I have this is open property, and I just say that if the currently selected modal dialog matches the name of this class, then we'll pass true to is open. And it's, I don't know, I'm not saying it's the best way, but it's pretty good. It's just pretty easy for me to see what's going on looking at the modal dialogues down at the bottom section of the rendering output for the screen. So I'm a fan of this. I've used it lots of times. It's worked well for me. Okay, is open on submit value. That's the other one to get back. Okay. On submit equals, yeah. That's wrong, but it's close enough that I can use that suggestion. Next spiel name. So we'll say on-chain spiel. Okay, I have to write that one. But I want to rename the spiel. Let's see what I did on faces. So faces screen. On new face name. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, let's just use this pattern instead. Okay, come back to spiel screen. We'll say bam. Next spiel name. A new spiel name. Yes, to set document name. Okay, a new spiel name. Where do I want to put that? Probably general interactions for now. Although, no, there is file interactions. Let's use that. There we go. Export function on new spiel name. And that's going to be yes to the spiel name, but there's more. There's more. Set modal. Modal dialog function. Okay, now I think I'm missing something. What was it? Set document name. Function, okay. Gotta make sure I got the order of these right. It's a easy mistake to make. Modal document name. Okay, that's good. You can import this. Okay, from file interactions. Let's get rid of these relative paths and clean up my imports a bit so that it's easier to manage all this. Okay, so this is where am I at? I'm in spiel screen. Why is new face dialog here? I don't need it. It thinks I do, so that means that there's some code beneath that's wrong. And this I do not want. Okay. Ordering these by their import file name. No, not a face, a spiel. Up here, clean this up. This will come from spiels screen, file dialogs. There we go. Yeah, it's just not using this yet. Let's do that for now. Yeah. All right, and then on new spiel name, I have to write that code. So go to File, Interactions, and this is going to be what? What is this going to be? That much is true. Let's go look what I did for faces and just copy the pattern. File interactions on new face. So I did setup for new face. Which does a whole ton of stuff, but let's see. Just set the document name. Set the, oh, I see. I think this is not quite right though. Okay, this is opening. This is opening the dialogue. Okay, there's another one though. On new face name, yeah, that was the one. Okay, so you set active face. Yeah, this is the pattern. Okay, come back to the other file interactions for spiel screen. And we'll go like this. Set active spiel name. Yes. And we'll do then. Yes. And this. Okay. Try to do it the same order. give me a new spiel name. That's a lot of new code. That's a lot of new code. It's unlikely to all work the first time. I will give it a 21% chance of working the first time. Well, compiled at least. And let's go into spiels. So here I would have expected it would bring the dialogue up, but I think I'm missing something, some code that actually brings it up. And I know, yeah, I am. So what I do in faces is I say after initializing that if the face name is unspecified, we'll go ahead and do all this business. So let's just stick with that. It's not the space name I want, it's a spiel name. And this should be new spiel dialogue name. And this should be spiel name. Okay. Good. By the way, as soon as I get this set of functionality working, I think that'll be a nice place to end the session at. This delete is incorrect. I don't know why that's there. Okay, so let's say face name and let's say spiel name. Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna make myself a note to do load the spiel text. Yeah, from persistence. Yeah. Thing's good. Okay. Let's do a set revision. Thinking this probably brings up the new dialogue, but what, we'll see. We'll see. I give it a 38% chance of bringing up the new dialogue. Okay, I brought it up. Okay, so that's good. If I say create, what will happen? I give it a 62% chance of renaming the document. And okay, did rename the document. So now I have some persistence code. It might succeed in writing to persistent storage. I'll see momentarily. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. Okay. So according to my expectations, when I go to look at the storage, I should see yeah, my stupid spiel is here. Okay, let's see what is stored. Yes, it's stored everything I asked it to. That's very good. Okay, and I think also that I can keep typing and it's going to save something else. Something else. Okay, I come back over here, do a refresh, come back here and come on. I need it to do a mouse over evaluation, or there we go. Yeah, nice, good. Okay. So I've got it saving. To really make it shine, I need to have it load when it comes in. So, boy, I'm gonna go pee, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna make it so it loads in the text when you come to the web app fresh. Be right back.
She's one of those types in the first place. But do we understand?
Hey, just look away.
What a brute.
Pushing on its own doesn't matter.
Violet, I've pushed people by accident.
I'd rather we not focus on her
The
actions.
bad look, he's upset, but he's always upset.
She's probably fine, but don't draw attention to
I don't
yourself.
care if she's a pusher.
What?
We'll go back to normal. Just wait a
People
bit.
want to ruin it for everyone else.
Send the other call and see what they say.
Okay, you're saying
Hey,
she's too
nobody
pushy.
died. You should be more
Can we
afraid.
get a beard in here? Why is it that hard? She just wanted people to clear a path.
She pushed someone.
She's one of those types in the first place. But do we understand?
Hey, just look away.
What a brute.
Pushing on its own doesn't matter.
Violet, I've pushed people by accident.
I'd rather we not focus on her
The
actions.
bad look, he's upset, but he's always upset.
She's probably fine, but don't draw attention to
I
yourself.
don't care if she's a pusher.
What?
We'll go back to normal. Just wait a bit.
People want to ruin it for everyone else.
Send the other call and see what they say.
Okay, you're saying
Hey,
she's too
nobody
pushy.
died. You should be more
Can we
afraid.
get a beard in here? Why is it that hard? She just wanted people to clear a path.
All right, back to it, back to it, back to it. Sorry for the cough. Did not mean to spray fluids all over you. Okay, so now spiel screen. Inside of the init, basically the to-do that I put right here. Okay. So let's go grab. Yeah, Quingy, I really didn't mean to like just cough all over you there. Sorry about that. Okay, const spiel text equals, let's go ahead and load spiel, load active, load spiel text. Let's also do should I follow the same pattern I did for common faces common? don't refactor until you need to. That's how we'll do it. Load spiel text from name. I'll even change it to load spiel from name, and we'll say spiel name. Okay, and this should be an await. It's going to be an async function. Load spiel from name. Ignore that thing that you're trying to autocomplete with. That's not useful to me, although the rest of it's pretty good. Okay. No, just whatever you're trying to do there, just stop. Const spiel text equals get spiel. Just pass in the spiel name. And I don't even need to assign it to a variable, just return it. There. What? What? Oh, maybe it might be null. What are you complaining about? Async. Need an async. There we go. Okay. So if I do that, then spiel text comes back. I gotta do something with it. What am I doing? Setting the spiel text here. But if the spiel name, pretty close to what I just auto completed there. Pretty close. I just really am impressed with some of the stuff. Spiel name equals unspecified name. Return empty string. Yep. Very good. Okay. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know what it is. Just got that feeling I'm forgetting one more thing. Okay, so that should, okay, it'll come through. It'll get the active spiel name, which would have been set on a previous session. This I'll format more concisely. Okay. If we've already done this once before, we just use whatever is in the module scope, including the revision manager. Okay, otherwise, this is the first mount initialization. We're going to load in the spiel text using the name that was just retrieved above. That's all old code. In the core, in the transcript, set the revision to equal the spiel text, and have the revision manager be set up to include that. Okay, that looks healthy. Let's see how it does. So it's already saved everything. I'll come back to the home page and I'll do a hard reload. So that means I lost everything in memory and it's just loading the web app from scratch. Come into the spiel screen. Okay. So it did not work. Let's do a little troubleshooting. Was the active spiel name set? Yeah, okay. This is here. Does it have, yep, it's got the text. Okay, so let's go check out what's happening inside the debugger. Go to general interactions and there's, no, that's the general interactions for face. I want the general interactions for spiel screen, which is probably this one. It is, okay. So let's let's see how it do. Come back to here, reload, get rid of everything in memory, come back to the spiel screen. Okay. So what name does it think we're loading? That's correct. Okay. Can we load it from the name? Okay. Say get spiel. I need more space to read this. Okay, get spiel. Let's see the key. Okay, project's default spiel's my stupid spiel. That looks correct. If I say get key, I think it's going to come back with something good. It comes back with the data from the database. Okay, so that's all healthy. So far, so good. Returning the spiel text, it should still be set. It is. Okay, so thinking about this, the spiel text is going to come back in the revision. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what's up here now. When it returns the init results, I need to add some code that sets the spiel text. That's all. Easy. Almost home free here. Session is coming to an end in mere minutes. Maybe even seconds, some might say. Because I'd like to end with victory. I really like to end a session getting things done that I set out to do at the beginning, rather than having something halfway finished in the middle. So, okay, so let's go to the spiel screen. And the initialization code. Just need to use that. Yep, that's some good autocomplete, CoPilot. That's some very good autocomplete. Now I'm unsure about oh, I need to return it. I need to return it in the inner results. Okay. But I was just going to say, I'm feeling like I'm unsure at times whether the autocomplete is coming from CoPilot or if it's coming from Writer. Because Writer is pretty aggressive with its autocompletion too. So it's a little bit murky for me. Okay, and then I could get it from the revision though. I don't need to return init results. Get it from the revision. That's better. Okay, so let's get that out of there. Don't need it. I am already saying the revision. The revision contains the spiel text, so let's just be economical there. Let's say revision. Huh. Oh, I just thought of something. Use effect. Just set a use effect here on. How do you know I was going to put revision? Jesus. How did it know I was going to put revision? Okay, so use effect, and then we'll say whenever the revision changes, go ahead and set spiel text. Okay, and then this needs a use effect. What? Could be null? Yeah, makes sense. And then we'll say, boom, 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 boom. All right. let's try that. Let's try that. Also, I do wonder if I'm really going to need inner results, but I'll keep it for now. There we go. All right, so I did just pop in this guy right here, but I want to do a fresh test. Do a reload, cleared everything out of memory just there. Reload it with nothing. Come back to spiels. Go. There we go. All right, so now I've got something. It's a lot like, say, Google Docs, where you just type and it saves it automatically. Blah blah blah. Except it's entirely offline. Entirely offline. So here, I'll copy the URL, exit out of here, come back in, and I hate that the font doesn't come in right away. That'll be saved for later. Come into the spiels. Okay, yeah. So it's just like a auto-saving local persistent storage document editor. Not bad for 2 hours and 53 minutes. Not too bad. Oh, also supports undo and redo. Although if I load in the document fresh, there is no revision history, so I couldn't undo from here. But if I want to say undo to this, I can go, bam, it comes back. There we go. So that's a session. Like I said, I really do prefer to finish on a high note. It's good for my brain. Gives me a little dopamine hit at the end of the session, like I'm some kind of victorious person. Quingy, Goose, thanks for hanging out. Anybody else that's here, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to stop the stream right about now. Invite you to come back later if you feel like it. Definitely was nice having the company.
Do we understand?
Just look away.
Also, reluctantly, I have to say, I enjoyed Github CoPilot's ChatGPT based company as well.
He's upset, but he's always upset.
The robots are taking over. Stop in the stream. Stop in the stream. Have a beautiful day or night or evening or morning. Stop in the stream.